and welcome or welcome back. My name is V, and today we are watching the video that I think pretty much everyone who follows World of Warcraft this year and the whole dragonflight development has been waiting for, and that is the first Lazy Peon review of World of Warcraft Dragonflight called World of Warcraft in 2023. Now, I don't even think I have to say this, but I want to say this. Make sure to subscribe to Lazy Peon if you have any love for MMORPGs in general. He does fantastic work on his channel, and I think you pretty much already know that if you've been following these things. But yeah, as you may or may not know, I used to cover World of Warcraft on my main channel, Momston, but I tend to not cover World of Warcraft there anymore as it's not my main game anymore. Right now, I'm still pretty much covering the news and just kind of sitting on the bench and observing and not wanting to get burned by World of Warcraft again. So I'm currently not playing the game, just a little disclaimer, but instead I'm trying to collect as much information about the game as possible, and I'm patiently waiting for about a month or two into the game to see how people are reacting to the game and what the game looks like 2 months after the honeymoon release. And that honeymoon release is normally very good for content creators to be there, but I was there for Shadowlands, and I got burned by Shadowlands a lot, even though it did help me get one of my YouTube channels monetized here on YouTube. It still left a really sour taste in my mouth after playing it, and after realizing that the game is just out there to waste my time, and I'm just kind of waiting to see how Dragonflight is gonna turn out. But anyways, if you enjoy RPGs in general, make sure to subscribe to this channel, as well as this is where I cover those games in particular, and now I tend to cover WoW news as well. But without further ado, let's go and watch the video.
Dragonflight is the 9th major expansion from World of Warcraft, which released on the 29th of November 2022. This expansion brought a new continent to the game with 4 massive zones, a new feature called Dragon Riding, which is basically WoW's version of the Griffin from Guild Wars 2, a huge revamp to the profession system.
See, Guild Wars 2 is something that I unfortunately never got to play, and I really want to at some point to just see it, as now I have a lot of experience with World of Warcraft, I have experience with Final Fantasy XIV, and I would like to add another MMORPG to my roster to just be able to compare things with, and I really, really want to. As soon as I find the time, I'm very interested in, at least going through the story and leveling up. I don't even know how it all works, but I just want to have that perspective.
Solo queue ranked PvP, brand new talent trees, an in-game edit UI mode, and a new race/class, the Drakthir Evoker. In terms of theme, Dragonflight has a more traditional fantasy style compared to the previous expansion Shadowlands, as it's set on the Dragon Isles and features more familiar characters from the game's lore. For many people, including myself, the biggest appeal to returning to WoW for Dragonflight was the shift in design philosophy to make the game much more alt-friendly. No borrowed power systems, no mandatory legendaries, no AP grind.
I don't know if I could get used to having alts ever again after spending so much time in FF14 and having almost all of my jobs leveled at this point, and being very comfortable with my character pretty much looking the same, apart from obviously the glamour and whatnot, when I switched to another job. I don't know if this is exactly what I would want. It is fun from time to time to just experience the world through like different eyes and such, but I feel like I'm very, very comfortable with no else system. So I wonder if this is just something that will even provide value for me as a potential player in Dragonflight, because right now I couldn't care less for alts.
In this video, I'll be giving you my first impressions of Dragonflight as someone who quit WoW all the way back in Legion. Will this be the expansion that brings me back? Find out after sponsor. Albion Online is one of the best sandbox MMORPGs out right now, and it's also a game I've covered on the channel numerous times throughout the years, with me personally ranking it in the A tier for my end of 2021 MMO tier list. Albion has just dropped a massive new update called Beyond the Veil, which brings with it a new magical realm to explore known as the Mists. This area is designed exclusively for solo and duo players.
It looks like World of Warcraft, but without all these like additional textures and shadows and whatnot. It looks like I don't know, like painted a painted version of, I don't know how to explain it. It looks like WoW, but it's like very soft. And these AoE markers, they remind me of Harvestella a little bit, as I'm currently going through that game and playing through those chapters and bosses and whatnot. This is just very reminiscent of that. It's funny how the more games you play, the more you start to recognize these things. I kind of compare that to learning languages. It's like when you know one language, all of the other languages will sound unfamiliar. But if you learn another language from like another language group, then as you listen to other languages that have, I don't know, common roots or whatever, you find yourself like understanding more and more words. And that's the beauty of switching from like a niche gamer to a variety gamer that I didn't used to understand. But I'm very happy to be experiencing this now. Sorry, that was unrelated, but
A challenge in an unpredictable zone without the possibility of getting killed by Zergs. The Mists
it
offers a
looks
range of both
cool.
PvP and PvE content, a brand new city, Brasilian, which has no fixed location, Mists player islands, as well as fantastical new monsters, 3 new armor sets,
I
new
like this
abilities,
game.
a rework to the Roads of Avalon, new pristine resources, and quality of life updates to the guild system. The thing I personally love about Albion Online is that it's designed in a way so that every update adds to the game whilst not making old content irrelevant.
Oh.
It doesn't matter if you're a solo player, a Zerg player, or just want to chill with a handful of friends. The game has multiple types of content for everyone, and I'll likely be revisiting Albion in the future soon to check out the new update for myself. Click the link in the description below to join the highly social, living, breathing sandbox world of Albion Online today.
Looks very pretty. I might do it.
Dragonflight Day 1. I turn on the stream and like a donkey I had the wrong audio settings for my VOD. 8 hours of footage, all with a muted mic. Nice
Oh
job.
god.
In my last video I mentioned that I'll be maining Druid this expansion. Well, I changed my mind. I tried out Priest for the first time during the pre-patch and I loved every spec. Also, as a Blood Elf female, the slutmog potential was a defining factor. We jumped on the airship to the Dragon Isles and began our adventure. Starting out fairly standard WoW questing, NPCs introduced us to the island, kill, collect.
Why is this so reminiscent of like the way Mists of Pandaria started? Like when you go to that island and there's already like war and conflict and whatnot, and you're in the middle of it, helping out and everything. I wonder how similar Dragonflight is to Pandaria.
Gather, we get introduced to the Dragon Scale Expedition faction, and the UI for reputations now works as a renown system.
Oh, that's
Something
good.
I found odd was how much cooler the actual NPC Drakthir are compared to the ones we get as a playable race.
Satsies.
The ones on the Dragon Isles, such as Sendrax, look badass, absolute unit Giga Chad dragon people, but the ones we get to play as look like pathetic furry bait scaly monsters.
Oh.
I feel like it'd be a missed opportunity if Blizzard doesn't play to add the Giga Chad version of Drakthir.
What if those are like the appearances, like the additional kind of cool things that your Drakthir can resemble or acquire or whatever if you do some things in game? Do you know how they put in that additional quest line for the, I think it was the Void Elf, like the eyes appearance and whatnot? There was like a little quest line that you did that unlocked the appearance for your Night Elf to look like a basically like a soldier of like the I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. I said void elves, but you know what I mean, like the Tyrande moon warriors, whatever. And I remember really liking that look, and I love that that was actually something somewhat story related that you had to unlock in game. So it would be cool if they did that for Dragonflight
As an allied race later in the expansion. Midway through level 61, or about an hour into the MSQ, I finally unlocked my dragon riding mount. Going into Dragonflight, I saw the trailer about dragon riding, but I didn't look too much.
This reminds me of like like the Harry Potter those Quidditch rings in like Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, when you go to the Quidditch oh, what is it, like the area for the first time, and when you have to like go around with your broom and go through these like circles and whatnot, and probably miss out on that one super rare card that is like in the middle of that central building, that if you don't collect it then you don't have all of the cards in Philosopher's Stone, and that still haunts me to this day. But anyway, anyway. I'm sure like two people know what I'm talking about at this point. But I'm not sure if I like that or dislike that, because that is the kind of system that I'm normally very uh, bad at, but it looks like something that everyone's having a lot of fun with.
I thought it'd be a budget version of Guild Wars 2's Griffin mount. Whilst it basically is the same thing, the momentum-based flying mechanics turned out to be a lot more fun than I expected it to be. I didn't expect to have to manage the mount's stamina, or fly in a way to recharge that stamina mid-flight. There's a surprising amount of polish gone into the dragon riding, and as far as the launch experience goes, this was the single biggest feature that made the leveling feel different this expansion when compared to others. Once
That's
I got
cool.
used to the dragon riding, I installed an add-on and spent about 90 minutes flying around collecting all the glyphs to max out my flying. Sure, I could have leveled the way Blizzard intended and collect these glyphs through discovery and exploration, but I didn't feel like maxing out my flying early on took away anything from my experience. Once I maxed out the flying, I sat next to a dwarf looking off into the distance. He basically told me a long story, and this quest seems to be designed to make the player chill and enjoy the view. I did my first
That's so
leveling
nice.
dungeon about halfway through level
I don't remember a lot of quests like that in World of Warcraft, and honestly, seeing this kind of makes me happy.
62, we absolutely steamrolled it in less than 10 minutes, and at level 64 I finished the first zone's MSQ, moving on to the second zone. 4 or 5 hours into the leveling process of Dragonflight, I noticed that I didn't find the questing as tedious as other expansions.
Yeah?
I think the fact that you can just jump on your mount and zip across the zone in seconds makes the questing more enjoyable. Zone number 2, the Yanaran Plains.
I can't even imagine that. There was never a time in World of Warcraft where you could just do that and just kind of, fly from one point to another while questing. Technically in Final Fantasy 14, you can do that if you very diligently do your what are they called? The Aetheryte thing explorations that you need to collect to unlock your flying early on. So technically you can have it straight away, but at the same time it's not that hard to unlock it with like the blue quests and with those green balls that you need to collect and discover and whatnot. It takes a little bit of time, but then you can just have flying. It's actually such a great and welcome change in WoW that they made it so that you can just quest, without them taking away the ability to fly like you were able to, I don't know, a month ago in Shadow, not Shadow, Shadowbringer, Shadowlands. When you and the other four players in Shadowlands who have remained there, were just like going around doing whatever it is that you wanted to do. It's like you feel like not everything has been taken from you, and that is good.
This area is exactly the type of aesthetic I like in my MMO zones. Colourful, open zone, vibrant, lots of wildlife. Basically reminded me of a modern version of Nagrand. Fairly standard
Yeah.
kill and collect quests here, but one style of quest that did stand out to me was the ones where you had the choice to ride along with a caravan of NPCs to the next location, listening to stories and taking in the environment.
That's so cool.
Or you could just jump on your mount, dash to the next area, and skip all of it. I like that Blizzard gave players the option to do either. I feel more open to actually listening to stories like this when it's optional rather than
I'd like to think that they're actually testing this whole philosophy of, hey, let's give them the choice and see if they engage with it, because as Ian said in the interview with Preach, that they were not very fond of that approach because they found that players would like not engage with non-mandatory content or whatever. I hope that from the community standpoint that the players actually show some goodwill and show that they would, do things that are not mandatory but really cool, so that, the development team can also be pushed in a different direction as well, seeing that the community actually wants to, have fun.
mandatory. I ended day 1 of streaming at level 65 because I was starting to lose my voice, but I was having so much fun playing on day 1 that I actually logged into my Shaman alt and leveled that to 63 off stream. All in all, I played the game for about 12 hours on day 1. Probably the longest gaming session I've had in WoW since the launch of Legion or Warlords of Draenor. So the game must have been doing something right this time around. Day 2. This time I fixed my audio issues and decided to stream on YouTube for the first time. I basically just followed the MSQ from 65 to 70. Just questing feels so fast now because since I unlocked all of the dragon glyphs, I'm just zipping from spot to spot like within seconds. So far my pre-patch gear has just been carrying me. I'll show you guys my
So wait, he was streaming the entire day? He wasn't streaming the entire day without his mic, was he? Like, he had this chat going on and everything. He said that there was something wrong with it or not. I guess he just did like a voiceover of that day one as there was something, you know, weird going on with it, but you know, still.
My most rare mount, and this was gifted to me on maybe like my first few live streams ever. This mount's probably worth a lot of money. Back when I first got it, it was worth like $400. But that was years ago. That was back in Warlords of Draenor or Mists of Pandaria. The magic rooster. Is this a...
I've never even seen anyone with that rooster. I think that was like, yeah, from the magic cards, and it's so rare. I don't know anyone who has it.
a rare mount now? Maybe they're going to give this away at the next next Twitch drop. Few grand. Wow. Yeah, a viewer gave it to me when I first started streaming. I still remember his name, Murtog. What's this? Another dragon riding mount. I didn't know you get like different ones like this. I wonder if each zone has its own dragon riding mount. Okay, let's try the new dragon. Yeah, I like him. He's got a much shorter wingspan. So soon we should be, yes, we're now off to the new zone, the Azure Span. And this zone, if I remember from flying over it, it looks a lot like...
That looks like the Emerald Zone in Legion, the home of the druid. What was it called? I can't remember, but it reminds me so much of it.
Like the Grizzly Hills. So I'm looking forward to questing in this one. Level 66. Nice.
Yeah, it does look
Cozy
like Grizzly Hills a little
forest.
bit as well.
Looks like we're about to enter a modern version of Grizzly Hills. Actually not bad. The game doesn't look too horrible, like graphically. It's still got like a good style to it. Definitely enjoying the visuals of this expansion more than the previous two. Okay, let's go check out the next zone, the Azure Span. It's quite interesting. Like in previous expansions, if the game told me I'd need to get from here all the way over here, I'd be like, oh it's gonna take so long. Why is it making me travel so far? But in this expansion, like traveling is active gameplay rather than numlock in one direction. So it doesn't really feel too bad. It takes like a quarter of the time as before. Something I wish you could do with the dragon riding is like fly upside down, like do a loop.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Cool. Like maybe like give you the ability to build up momentum and then like do like a backflip. That's something they should add. The positives about this expansion is they've added a few things that will remain relevant and that are good updates that lay a foundation for future expansions.
I hope they find a way to like incorporate dragons like into, you know, dragon riding and dragons or whatever into the lore as something that you get to take with you, not just to the future expansions, but to the past as well, because it seems to be a good system that people are enjoying. So
it's like the dragon riding thing. There's no way the next expansion can't have dragon riding. You can't allow people to have this much fun with mounts and then take it away. There's a lot of like good things that they've added with this expansion.
But imagine they already like have the next expansion planned out and they're like, oh no, we're not doing the dragon riding, and the expansion is like half baked already without dragon riding in it, and they just decided to not do it.
That will be relevant good things that will continue on into the next expansion. Whereas in previous expansions, they didn't really add stuff like that. I like that all of my, that every quest's like giving me upgrades now. Finally passed the pre-patch gear. 101k health, let's go. I see like groups of NPCs. Throw mail. The hero of Azeroth defeated Sargeras, defeated the jailer, and now I'm a mail boy. We certainly fell off, didn't we? Oh, level 67. See if I've unlocked something substantial. I really love this new talent tree. Okay, let's go with this one. Go this direction. Oh, this is a cool mount. We're all standing on a book. Oh, I get to control it now. Okay.
Do you get that mount?
This is a cool quest. Zipping around, one-shotting everything.
That's actually so
If we have this power, though, why can't we just do this for the rest of the leveling? Surely we could wipe out Razagath with this power. Okay, let's do a dungeon. Brackenhide Hollow. Feels like we're in a fucking Mythic Plus race right now. Like the pace this tank's going. I'm like trying to read the chat. I'm trying to chill. I'm trying to enjoy the dungeon for the first time. Apparently not.
No, and WoW, no, you don't get to do that.
You need to adapt to the tank. It's one of those situations. I think we got a decent amount of XP for that. Any upgrades? No. Oh, so even though I maxed out my dragon riding, I'm still unlocking new dragon riding abilities through the actual
That's
MSQ.
cool.
That's cool. Level 68. I'm in desperate need of another coffee. 2 levels to go. The Highland Drake. Okay.
I love how he included that coffee part in the video.
Okay, this is my favourite looking Drake. He looks cute, doesn't he?
Aw.
Dragon customization. I've unlocked a lot of new things. Yeah, that's cool. So for this one, I need Gladiator PvP rank for Dragonflight, and I unlock that. That's probably like the coolest looking dragon you can possibly get in the game. It's going to be fun to collect all of this stuff throughout the expansion. Okay.
I imagine for someone who's played like Guild Wars 2 or Final Fantasy 14 or whatever, you see this mount and you're kind of like, meh, you know, but like there's a strange amount of, I don't know, I guess nostalgia and being used to this kind of design that you can actually recognize the beauty in some of these things that don't look half as shiny as in Final Fantasy 14, but there's just something to it that's inexplicable, but just kind of, I don't know, gives you like a feels good, I don't know, feel when you look at it. Probably because of, I don't know, memories and being used to it and whatnot.
Okay, on to the final zone. Oh, level 69. Nice.
Nice.
At level 69, I got to do one of the coolest quests I've seen from Blizzard in years. It basically mindfucks you by showing you the intro cutscene of your race from level 1.
Oh, wow.
Then you're getting teleported through time to various locations in the world. Silver Moon, Dragonblight, where half the mobs were half Deathwing, half Murloc. And finally, we got to see an alternate future where the old gods took over. Really cool quest with a great cutscene at the end. Aside from that, another style of quest I enjoyed during the leveling of Dragonflight was the dragon racing quests. It's basically Spyro the Dragon. Fly through the rings and you get a time rating from bronze to gold depending on how fast you finish the course.
Okay.
Each zone has like 6 or 7 courses, and I loved doing these as a way to break up the kill and collect, with some of them actually being a little bit challenging.
That flying.
Oh, level 70, there it is, ding! It's been quite an enjoyable leveling experience compared to previous expansions. Not been too painful at all. Once I hit level 70, I continued playing WoW off stream, and after 4 days of very casual play since the expansion launched, I'd cleared all of the Mythic Zero dungeons, had a full set of PvP gear on the Priest, and was basically just chilling and farming transmogs. I've seen some people who were complaining that they were basically done with everything after only 2 or 3 days. They'd got all the gear they needed from Mythic Zero, they'd farmed the reputation gear, and they're just waiting for the 2-week delay period for Mythic Plus to finally be open. For me personally, I can understand why these people are complaining that they're bored. They're basically playing WoW as their only game and they want to put infinite hours into it. In previous expansions, this was
because WoW has historically never allowed you to play other games. I was not a variety streamer and a variety gamer when I mained World of Warcraft, because World of Warcraft never used to allow you these things. And the thing about WoW is that it's only now starting to allow people to, you know, to kind of, I don't know, catch some breath and play some other games as well. And there's going to need to be some time for people to readjust to that mindset if they ever do. It's not something that's going to come instantly, I think.
But Dragonflight is way more casual friendly, which I definitely prefer. I've never seen WoW as the kind of game that should be an infinite grind. Most WoW players are casual. If I can get all my weekly shit done within a day or two, then have time to chill on alts or play other games, then I'm happy. At the end of the day, you can't please everyone. If the game's more casual friendly, you get the people who have nothing better to do all day complain, whereas if the game's too grindy, then the casuals complain. For me,
there's
after
more
3 expansions of the game being super alt unfriendly, Dragonflight so far is a breath of fresh air. The fact that there's no borrowed power or FOMO content that forces me to log in every day means I can finally play WoW on my own terms. I can play multiple alts, go out farming mounts and transmog, have fun in BGs, and practice my dragon riding whilst waiting for queues to pop. Something else to mention, the art team has smashed it out of the park with Dragonflight. When you're in the new main city, Valdrakken, and you look up, the skybox is littered with dragons. The view distance also seems a lot further than the last time I played too, so visually, I've been very impressed with the game. Flying through the world with the UI turned off actually looks quite nice now. Not bad for a 20-year MMO. Other than that, I found the music to be top tier. I love that you can collect different appearances to customize your
Oh,
dragons. I can't
nice.
wait to try out
See, I hope that that's the same thing that they do for the track tier as well. That'd be so cool.
the solo queue ranked PvP, and the new talent trees have been awesome so far.
Cool.
I never expected to be able to have fun in World of Warcraft again. I hated both Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands during the launch weeks. I just wasn't interested. I honestly thought I was completely done with World of Warcraft as a whole. And whilst it's definitely too soon to say if Dragonflight has brought me back to stick around, I already feel like I've gotten my money's worth with a solid 40 hours of enjoyment in the first week.
Nice.
I put out a tweet a few days ago saying that after 5 days I'm still having fun with WoW, and I got a lot of replies along the lines of, "Let's see how it is in a few weeks," or "I'm waiting for a few patches to jump in once the honey."
If you pay $60 and you get at least 40 hours of enjoyment from the game, even though it is, an MMO and people expect you to have an infinite amount of fun throughout the expansion without, the new patch or whatever even being taken into consideration, that is a good value for your money. If you treat it like another game that you bought, considering there's going to be technically free updates and DLCs in forms of patches, that is probably a good deal. Yes, it's a live service and you have to pay to play the game that you already bought, and that is, I guess, another perspective. Like if you're getting more enjoyment from the game than those 40 hours or so that you need to go through the leveling or questing or whatever, then that's great, then that's worth paying the money for. But if you're not, you pay for the an initial subscription and then you can unsubscribe and not invest even more money because there's nothing for you to do that you want to do.
Honeymoon period is over. With MMOs, especially theme park MMOs like WoW, where the game is only really as big as its latest content patch, I don't really see the benefit of waiting for future updates before jumping into the game. I feel like that approach causes you to miss out on all of the fun stuff. MMOs are always fun either at launch or at the start of a big update. Everyone running around the world, doing stuff together, learning new bosses, figuring out the best way to gear up, and so on. If you wait until everyone universally agrees that an expansion is good before joining, then you've already missed out on the most fun time period.
I am in the group of people who is deliberately missing out and waiting to see what the game is going to be like, but I think I'm justified and I'm not guilting myself into playing World of Warcraft at launch for the sake of, having fun with the community, because I am not a World of Warcraft player anymore who suffers from like having to be a part of the community. I don't. I just, want to see the story, and the story is timeless. I can see it any time. And I have a lot of self-control when it comes to like clicking on videos and seeing spoilers and whatnot, so I'm good with that and I'm okay with this. And I think that if you've gotten yourself burned in any way, shape, or form, it is okay and it is justified to wait and to be a little cautious. And I think that there's a lot of people finding joy in making educated decisions for the first time when it comes to World of Warcraft, because that's what I'm calling it. That's why I'm watching all these videos and trying to see for myself if this is even something that I would even remotely find pleasure in.
That game. Waiting for reviews is smart for single player games, but for MMOs, which are always fun for at least a few days at launch, I think you're missing out by waiting. Will Dragonflight have some dog shit patch later on that makes the game unfun? Probably, but the game is fun now, which is all that matters. Enjoy it whilst it lasts, and when it stops being fun, go play something else or go grind strength XP IRL. Simple as that. But that's it for this video, guys. As always, let me know your thoughts on WoW Dragonflight in the comments below. Did you also decide to return for this expansion? What's your pros and cons for it so far? Social media on screen. My editor recently made a Lazy Peon Clips channel on YouTube, so go subscribe to that. Help us out with a like for the algorithm gods, and I'll see you in the next one. Dragonflight.
Honestly, that was a very, very good video, and I'm very happy to watch Lazy Peon's content because he's normally very objective when it comes to these things while managing to put a lot of his own, spirit and energy into his videos. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, make sure to do so. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on this particular review and Dragonflight in general if you haven't posted your comments anywhere else yet, or if you have anything else to say whatsoever, I would love to hear it and to talk to you about that. Thank you for watching the video. This was actually very, very insightful, very good review. I wish I could do reviews that are half as good. But if you do enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe here as well. I cover all sorts of RPGs here on this channel, and if I was to cover World of Warcraft at any point in the future, it would be here on VPlays. So make sure to leave a sub there if you're interested. And I am only at the moment covering Final Fantasy XIV on my main channel, which is Mom's Den. If you care about Final Fantasy XIV stuff, you can go and find me there. All of my links are in the description of this video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you around. Bye!